Another day, another project. Project Luminous has only recently been announced, but now there already appears to be another leak based around a new project. Project Maverick. Now you might be asking, what is Project Maverick? Well, today I shall do my best to explain. So sit back, relax, and look out the window for a second. It might be a bit sunny, I don't know. Welcome to Star Wars Timelines. Last year, Fallen Order was released, and it was a massive joy to get a brand new Star Wars game. Apart from Battlefront 1 and 2, we haven't really had a big new Star Wars game in a while. Well, I mean, there was LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, but, you know, that's its own thing. But the Battlefronts have been really the only two biggest ones. And although I love the Battlefront games, it was an absolute joy to get a completely new type of game. Fallen Order quickly became one of the most popular Star Wars games to date. Now we might be able to get another brand new Star Wars game in the form of Star Wars Project Maverick. The project was already leaked by a Twitter account that monitors Sony PlayStation Network for new PlayStation 4 game releases and updates. Now the title was simply posted as Maverick, but what was paired with it was some Star Wars artwork, namely a Star Destroyer being approached by some X-Wings. This might be related to another report in February claiming that EA was developing a Jedi Fallen Order sequel, as well as a smaller, more unusual project at EA Motive. Now, again, these are all just leaks, none of these have been confirmed yet. I'm not usually one that actually really gives any attention to leaks. I usually like to stick with the information released by official statements, and, you know, chances are regarding this project, it will probably be a while until we get anything actually confirmed about it. But since I'm a massive game enthusiast, I thought I'd go into the information that we do currently have. So we'll start off with what we do have, which is pretty much at this point the artwork. As I said, it appears to be a Star Destroyer being approached by a few X-Wings, hinting at another game close to the original trilogy. Now, although, like I said, this game could take place around the original trilogy, it could also take place after the original trilogy. Maybe a Mandalorian era type game. By Mandalorian, I mean post Return of the Jedi type game. So far, the only game that has gone into this period at all would have been the Battlefront 2 campaign, but that only went up to the Battle of Jakku. So maybe some old Imperial remnants holding out against the New Republic? Again, this is all just speculation. It could also have nothing to do with the original trilogy, and this was just some dope Star Wars art that they put with the project temporarily or to stir off any leaks. However, we're going to continue taking apart this image to see what else we can find. Now, I'd say the location looks very similar to Mustafar. The orange, fiery, lava-type textures around definitely seem to resemble that of the volcanic planet. Mustafar obviously was the first featured in Revenge of the Sith, but has since appeared in comics, the Clone Wars animated series, Rebels, Rogue One, and the VR game Vader Immortal, and most recently, The Rise of Skywalker. In the Age of Rebellion, it was known most for playing host to Vader's castle, or Fortress Vader, depending on, on what you'd like to call it. Fortress Vader, also known as Darth Vader's castle, and Vader's personal abode, was a stronghold located on the volcanic world of Mustafar. Once the site of a Sith temple, the fortress was built above a Sith cave that still remained. Existing by the time of the reign of the Galactic Empire, the Sith cave contained a dark side locus. Now, the VR game Vader Immortal that I stated earlier was a VR experience based around Mustafar and Vader's castle. Now, the Vader Immortal game gives us the best look into the castle out of most other Star Wars media to date, not only showing us the ins and outs of the castle, but also what it was built on top of, and the history of the castle. Revolving around a person called Kovacs, a Force-sensitive female who resided on Mustafar, with her husband long before the rise of the Empire. At this time, Mustafar was thriving with life, green forests and fields. However, during a battle with raiders, Kovacs' husband fell in battle. Struck with grief, she stole the bright star crystal, the most sacred artifact to the native Mustafarians, so that she could power her Eon engine, which she hoped would resurrect her husband. That attempt failed, however, and not only was Lady Kovacs trapped between the real world and what came after, but the powerful energies that burst from the bright star transformed Mustafar into a volcanic planet, which is what it became known today. Years later, a member of her bloodline travelled to Mustafar and destroyed the bright star. The energy from the bright star then began to flow through Mustafar, and the world began to heal. After the Galactic Civil War and Vader's death, the fortress was left in ruins and vacant. Its grounds eventually came to be protected by the Alzmec of Winzit, a Sith cult who colonized Mustafar and wanted to restore the planet to its former thriving state. The cultists believed that the soil of the Fen was fertile, having been soaked by the tears of Lady Kovacs, and devoted themselves to protecting and regrowing by planting a forest of iron trees. However, years later, during the Age of Resistance and the reign of the First Order, the Alzmec colonists were cut down on the grounds of the Fortress Vader by Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and his stormtroopers. During his search for the hidden Sith world of Exegol, as the Alzmec of Windsor possessed the Sith Wayfinder that once belonged to Darth Vader, the cultists were massacred by the Supreme Leader, and after that, Mustafar was once again left abandoned, and little is known what happened to the planet after that. Hopefully, the whole thing kind of healed and grew. Nature thing. We also know how the fortress was built, which was covered in my top 10 Sith Lords video. So that covers the lore and history of Mustafar, so chances are the new rumoured Star Wars game won't directly tie into any of this history as such, since it all kind of was wrapped up. But given the art that was attached to the project, and if that is anything to go by, Project Maverick might have closer tie-ins to Mustafar around the era that this all kind of happened. As for when we can expect any official information, or even when the game is actually announced, that might be a while. With LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga coming out later this year, I doubt any information will come out before then, as that is what they will want to focus on right now. There is a rumour that a Fallen Order sequel might be coming in 2022, so if this project has anything to do with that, expect the game to be announced later this year or even perhaps early next year. The only platform for release that we currently know of is PlayStation. However, if this game is to be released and is real, expect it to be on all major platforms as most other Star Wars games are. For now though, this is all the information we have to go on. What kind of new game would you like to see produced? A High Republic era game? A post-Return of the Jedi game? Based around the Mandalorian era maybe? Revisiting the Old Republic or prequel era perhaps? Or even a sequel era game? Or something completely different altogether? Feel free to leave your ideas in the comments below. For now, thank you for watching and may the Force be with you.